The Wally Show podcast is our daily radio show heard live through the WayFM app each morning and hosted by Wally, Gavin, and me, Betty Rock. For more fun, be sure to connect with us at wayfm.com/Wally.
The Wally Show podcast is brought to you by Colorado Christian University Online, where you can earn a degree online just like Betty Rock. You can learn more at ccu.edu/Wally. Serving it sunny side up. It's News-ish with Betty Rock on The Wally Show.
If you didn't realize it, today is Eclipse Day. I thought everybody realized that, but I realized this morning that Wally had no idea.
No, and I've been talking about it last week. I was all excited for it, and then today rolls around. I'm like, oh yeah, that is today.
Well, the line of totality will start in South Texas and it'll end in Maine. And you can find out what time it will be in your area when you go to nasa.com. But with the oncoming of the eclipse, there are a lot of news stories out there about it. Some are ridiculous, but others are interesting. One of them, like how some of the cities that are in the path of totality have appropriate names, like Shadowland, Texas, and Moon, Oklahoma.
It's so funny. I saw somebody on TikTok talking about this, but they had a biblical perspective of it, and they were trying to say like why it's the end of the world. They're like, it's gonna cross Nineveh, and like all of these Bible.
That.
Did you hear that? All of these Bible things, like just grasping at straws to try to make a correlation.
Yep. Another interesting tidbit is what colors are best to wear if you'll be taking pictures with your friends as the eclipse is happening. It turns out red and green are the best colors to wear. They tend to stand out in low lighting.
I never knew that.
Well, now you do. And then finally, if you're doing some driving today, stay alert on the roadways since cops saw a 31% jump in accidents the day the 2017 eclipse happened.
Why?
So it turns out people are driving while watching the eclipse.
Yeah.
So they've got their hands on the wheel, got their head out the window trying to see it, which is not a smart idea. Also, some people are pulling over to the side. Pedestrians are watching it, and you don't want to hit their parked car. And another one, some people are just speeding to get to their viewing area. Those are just 3 of the reasons, but there are many more. So if you are driving when the eclipse is happening, be on your guard.
Yeah, because somebody's going to be trying to look at it.
Yep.
So there you go. Happy Eclipse Day. I hope you enjoy it. It will feel like the world is ending for about 3.5 minutes, but then all will be
normal.
right. Yep. Then it's like, hey, did something just happen? Uplifting WayFM, this is The Wally Show, and we are going to do a new version of #YourWeekend. This actually was suggested by someone that emailed me and was like, hey, sometimes I notice people aren't coming up with the most creative hashtags, so why don't you have them give you the story, and then Betty Rock, who is so good at hashtags, have her help them come up with one so they could post them. Like, that's a great idea. So that's what we are going to do. Now, Betty Lou, you had a weekend, did you not?
I did. I went to Mule Day.
Yeah, you did. There is a Mule Day in our area, believe it or not.
Yes, and so it's where everyone comes together and they celebrate that mules exist with funnel cake, with corn dogs, not regular corn dogs, but foot-long corn dogs, okay? Sweet tea, ribbon fries, cotton candy, funnel cake, you name it. I'm there to celebrate.
The mullet watching alone had to be fantastic.
You know, there was one man that I saw with the mullet, and I was like, wow, that's a statement. Yeah. And then he reached into the bed of his truck and pulled out his baby, and that baby had a mullet as well. You think I am making this up? I am not. I'm not. I could put my hand on a Bible.
That is so good.
Crazy.
I get. How much did you spend on your corn dogs again?
So we got 2 foot-long corn dogs, 2 big sweet teas, and ribbon fries, and that came to $46.
That is a crime.
It is.
That is a crime.
What do you do?
Yeah. Your hashtag would be #a mule ate my wallet. Because
that's a great one.
See, that's how you do this. Because you went there and you went to Mule Day and you spent ginormous amount of money for a foot-long corn dog that Costco would sell you for $1.50 with a drink.
But it's not a foot long.
Yes, it is. It's better. Yeah, you try to make yourself feel better about it, but that you just got robbed, honestly. Did you get any merch this year?
I did. I got a 50th anniversary T-shirt. It was fantastic.
Celebrating 50 years of separating people from their money with corn dogs.
I'm here to celebrate.
All right, so that's how we're going to do it. You just tell us a story about your weekend, something you did, went to, or proud of, whatever, and we'll try to come up with a creative hashtag for you. 855 855-33-WAY-FM. That's 855-33-WAY-FM. What's your story of the weekend?
I went on a cruise. I just got back yesterday. I was in St. Martin, Puerto Rico, and Dominican Republic.
Nice.
Did you get a really bad sunburn?
Yes, I did. The first day we sat on the deck, and when we were in St. Martin, we went over to the beach where the airplanes fly right over you.
I love that. Oh, my goodness. And people get blown like into a fence when they take off and stuff. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome.
How many pounds do you think you put on during the cruise? Because those all-you-can-eat buffets at any time of the day or night are pretty dangerous.
Considering I'm already a little bit round, probably another 5 pounds, maybe.
Okay, I would say #windblown burnt 5.
There you go, because it covers everything that happened to her.
Uh-huh.
That's better than mine. #ground round.
No, that's not good.
Because she's back on solid ground.
I see.
She said she was round.
Yeah,
So.
well, I think you should go with mine, Lily.
Yeah, I like yours better.
Hey, Lily, thanks for being on with us today.
Thank you.
So what's yours?
So my husband ended up in the hospital, and this was our third day there, Saturday morning, and we were woke up by the most beautiful sunrise coming into the window. So I took pictures of this and showed it to the doctors, and they were even impressed. And I said, God woke us up by saying he's still in charge. Everything's going to be okay.
I love that. How much did the doctors charge you for that sunrise out your window?
Oh, yeah. About as much as they charge for the foot-long corn dogs, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'd use #free of charge.
There you go. Yeah, the only thing free at the hospital is that sunrise.
Yeah.
There you go. I love it. I love it. Thank you, guys.
Well, in all seriousness, we hope that everything works out for you and your husband, and I'm glad that you did get a little bit of joy and peace in the midst of probably the chaos that's going on.
You have to look for the silver linings, because God's always there.
This is Monday School. It's Wally's take on what he learned at church, or at least the parts he understood.
So it's been said that we're all just one bad decision away from wrecking our lives. I mean, you see it all the time with adultery, drinking, denying the truth of God, substituting our own false truth, those kind of things. But maybe this is why Jesus talked about wisdom in the Sermon on the Mount in Matthew. At the very end, he says, "Therefore, everyone who hears my words and puts them into practice is like the wise man who built his house on the rock. But everyone who does not put my words into practice is like the man who builds his house upon the sand." And the analogy is that if you're not familiar with the story, a storm comes by and that one of the houses stands and one of the houses falls. So the two builders each wanted to build a great house. That's the analogy here, but it's really talking about life. The house is your life, but they went about it two different ways. The wise builder built his house on the rock, and in the example here, God is the rock, the solid foundation upon which our lives should be built. But the foolish builder built his house in the sand, all the temporary things that might feel good for the moment but do not last. And so here's another important part of this HGTV type house life story. The storm blew against both houses. I think that's important because a lot of times we think as believers we're somehow supposed to be spared from the hardship of life, but nothing's further from the truth. In fact, Jesus was kind of honest with us. He's like, you're going to have trouble. But the good news is I've overcome this world. So I kind of thought that was neat. Neither of them was spared, but one stood and one fell. The one that stood was the one that was built on God. So if you're having problems in your relationships with your kids, with people at work, financially, emotionally, mentally, you can talk to a bunch of people, but returning to Scripture is where you find wisdom, life-changing wisdom. But the key, based on this story, is you have to implement the advice and the principles given to you in the Word.
You have to live it out. You can't just listen to it. Got to live it out.
Absolutely. And here was the bring it home point for me personally, though. When you have cracks in your house, like you'll see like the wall crack, like, oh no, that's usually the house is settled. There's a foundation problem. You can go and spackle it, but it doesn't change the bigger underlying problem that if you let that go, you could lose your house or have big damage done to it. And so if you think about this analogy about our lives being, and God being the foundation in this, if you have cracks in your life, there's probably a foundation problem. have you drifted from the foundation of God in your life? And I thought that was a really good, quick assessment to look at yourself and go, man, am I frustrated? Am I lonely? Am I hurt? Am I angry? All these things. And maybe you look at that and go, why am I this way? Maybe I've drifted. Maybe my foundation has some cracks in it, and I need to get back to grounding myself in God and in the Word. And so that landed with me. Maybe it lands with you today, too. And that is your Monday School for today. Most big changes start from the inside and then they work their way out. It starts with an idea in your head or a passion in your heart, and then you take the steps to turn that thought or dream into reality. That happened for Betty Rock when she decided to go back to school at Colorado Christian University.
I had always wanted to get a college degree, and I didn't get just one. I got two. And trust me, I am using my psychology degree every day working with Wally.
Wait, what?
Oh yeah, it's happening.
Well, CCU apparently gave Betty Rock the tools she needs, and Colorado Christian University can do the same for you. They can turn you inside out and help make your educational dreams a reality.
Right now, Colorado Christian University is offering you a chance to win a $10,000 or a $5,000 scholarship towards an associate, bachelor's, or master's degree offered 100% online.
And just for entering, you can get a $1,000 scholarship. So text CCU to 91979. Contest ends Thursday.
Colorado Christian University, cultivating the mind without compromising the heart.
With so much drama in the news,
I hate drama, so there you go.
You love drama.
I know I do, right?
this is a drama-free zone. It's news-ish on The Wally Show.
There are so many things to worry about with your kids, and now apparently parents are worried about how AI is going to affect their kids. As much as 3/4 of parents are a little wigged out by it. But the crazy thing is they don't fully know why. And that's because they don't understand AI.
I think it's that, what's the term? The valley of, where it's like zombies and all that. They make them so realistic that it's called something.
Yeah.
But anyways, that's how it is with AI. The computers take up these human characteristics. The uncanny valley. That's what
I've never heard
called.
that term. Okay.
Yeah, the uncanny valley, where something that's not natural has human characteristics, and it gives us the EBGBs.
Well, I thought about it. I'm like, okay, as a parent, what would I worry about? I would worry my kid would use it to write papers, to do the easy thing and not work hard, kind of thing. And that would be a concern. Or maybe deep fakes. Them thinking that something is real, because a lot of the deep fakes that AI creates, you're like, wow, I can't believe that happened. And you could alter somebody's perspective of real life events, and so that I get. But beyond that, I'm not 100% sure what there is to fear. And I probably fall in that camp. I've used AI for certain things, but I don't understand its full capabilities. And I think AI is a broad spectrum term too, that when you talk about companies, and algorithms to better serve you or follow you, monitor, track you, and your spending habits, that's all AI as well. And so AI is a real broad thing, but I think everybody has their own specific thing they try to make it or think that it is.
But also, too, there is this thing that we fear what we don't know.
Yeah.
And so we don't know a lot. Like you said, we don't know what AI is capable of, so that makes us fear it.
Yeah, and I mean, like I said, I've used it before for certain things. Like one time we had Matthew West in, and we asked AI to write a song about pizza, but in the style of Matthew West. And so we printed out the lyrics for him, and he knocked out a great song. So if this was what AI is doing, then I'm all for it. Beyond that, if it gets scary, then I'm out. But right now, I'm pretty much a fan.
Like toppings on a pizza, God deep dishes out His grace. With every slice of mercy, we shove into our face. We're hand-tossed, but we're not lost. His delivery was made. God's love is like a pizza, it will never go to waste. He's the master chef, the Lord of life's cuisine, serving up salvation with the love that's so supreme. He's the pizza of our souls, the Savior we adore. Come and taste His goodness and hunger no more.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
You missed your calling as a punk pop rocker.
Yeah. From the crust of His compassion to the cheese of His embrace, to the sauce of His salvation that fills our pizza place. He's the master chef, the Lord of life's cuisine, serving up salvation with a love that's so supreme. He's the pizza of our our souls, the Savior we adore. Come and taste His goodness and hunger no more. Say, come and taste His goodness and hunger no more. One more time. Come and taste His goodness and hunger no more.
There you go. Nicely done.
Now, if ChatGPT really knew who I was,
Yeah.
it would have added, whoa.
That's true.
Say, whoa. Thank you very much.
Nicely done. Matthew West, everybody. Uplifting Way FM. This is the Wally Show, and we love ourselves some Lauren Daigle. She is an amazing artist, and I recently came across her doing something a little bit unusual, and she was doing a concert in a women's prison, and I thought it was extremely cool.
When you go into prisons and sing, that's where you get a true sense of freedom. These women have experienced things that have gotten them places, but they actually have received what true freedom feels like, sounds like. The sound that comes out of that is palpable. And to know that their lives have been touched by the Lord is the most powerful thing.
You plead my cause, just the voices. You right my wrongs. You break my chains.
She played to over 300 women at this correctional facility, and I love this because a lot of times people in prison are forgotten, and I have a story of this in my family as well. And the prison ministries are amazing because they get to people, and people have messed up. I mean, they're there for a reason most of the time, and it doesn't, though, preclude them from God's grace, His love, His forgiveness, and His freedom. And I love that. She's like, these women are experiencing freedom in a place where maybe they don't have physical freedom, but they can have spiritual freedom. And that's kind of what we want to talk about with you today. It's like, what was that thing that God gave you freedom from? I mean, it could be anything from, an eating disorder or addiction or what have you, but it was something that bound you, kind of like these women in prison. They're restricted, but Lauren was kind of sharing with them how they are free. If you have faith in God, and regardless of your circumstances, you were free. Look at all the great things Paul wrote from prison. He wrote a bunch of the New Testament from prison, and God used that time in him. Even though he was incarcerated, he was free, and he wrote words that have lasted thousands of years and made a difference in, hundreds of thousands, millions of people's lives. And so that's what we want to talk about, though, with you. 855-33-WAY-FM. That's 855-33-WAY FM. What was that thing that you were bound by, but God gave you freedom from? We'll take yours now. What was that thing that you felt bound by, but God gave you freedom?
For a long time, I was bound by an addiction. I struggled. I couldn't break it. And then also homelessness for a little while. But through a leg amputation, I found God through that moment. It was COVID. Everything was shut down. It was just me and God in the hospital, and that's where I found Jesus. And so it's been an amazing journey.
You weren't able to get up and leave and walk out, and you were kind of bound like these women in prison, and you found freedom there. How did that happen? I'm just curious.
Through what I've given from the Lord, I feel like I could have 2 legs amputated because what I found was God, and that means everything. The addiction was broken. I found a new relationship. I finally felt His closeness. I love the Lord so much for all that I've gone through and what I've been given from it.
Well, you hear it in your voice, and I love that people are getting to hear that today who maybe are still caught in the throes of addiction, and it gives them hope today, too. So thank you for sharing your story with us, Carrie Ann. You're the best.
Thank you. You're the best, too. Have a good morning.
What is something that you felt that you were bound by, but God gave you freedom from it?
I've had a toxic work environment for years, and I was getting so physically sick, always going to the doctors, to the ER, get admitted to the hospital because I was so ill. And I prayed and says, God, please take it away. Take me out of this because I cannot do this anymore. And the same week that I was going to leave because of my health, He gave me a job that same week. And the job that He gave me, I'm so happy there. Life's changing.
Work is such a big part of our lives that can impact us when we go home, for sure. I remember being at a job for 3 years that I hated. It was a big money job, which was great, but that didn't offset all of the stuff that I had to do in radio before I came here. And I didn't like it. I was miserable. I went home angry and just upset. I was sick a lot like you. So I 100% get where you're coming from. And I love that you have a place that you go to, not only go to work, but can actually enjoy and want to be there. That makes all the difference in the world.
It does.
I keep telling Betty that one day she's going to find that. She's going to find a job that fulfills her and isn't toxic. But she stayed here all these years with me. So
thoughts and prayers appreciated.
If you've ever been stuck in kind of an unforgiveness spiral, you will totally understand where this lady is coming from. Hey, it's the Wally Show on Uplifting Way FM. She says, please pray for my heart to forgive my ex-husband and his new wife. I know I must forgive, but the hurt just keeps resurfacing and I'm struggling to move on. Watching my happy family / kids, but without me in the picture. Oof. That's a rough one.
I can't imagine. I would not want to be in her shoes because you build this family that you think is going to last forever.
Yeah.
And then sometimes it just doesn't. We live in a broken world with broken people and relationships sometimes don't last.
I mean, it's true. Nobody grows up dreaming of their wedding and dreaming of the day they get divorced, you know? And it's the way life goes for some people sometimes. And I love that she felt good enough to post this on our prayer wall because I know, this is what I love, I know people will be praying for her. And there's a lot of people that have firsthand experience with what she's going through and they can be uniquely qualified to pray for her. But that's what I do love about the prayer wall is people will share their life and their struggles and their hurts, and it's a place with zero judgment, and it's a place where people just kind of love on you. And it's really cool because when you post a prayer request, people are praying and they'll click a box that says, I prayed for this, and you'll get a notification. Could be that day, could be multiple times that day, could be a week later. And the timing just always seems to be right. But I feel bad for her because you get stuck in that place of unforgiveness and it just wrecks you. You know, you think that you're affecting other people, but they move on, and all the unforgiveness does is destroy you. And so hopefully, she can be reminded of that and come to that place where she can move forward and move past this, because that's ultimately what will be good for her. And also, too, it'll be good for her kids, if she can get to that place. But boy, I don't envy her. That's a hard thing to do. So if you want to be part of the prayer wall and pray for this lady, or post your own prayer requests, or pray for the myriad of other requests that are on there, we'd love to have you get involved now.
Text the word pray to 91979 and we will send you a link. That's pray to 91979.
Okay, stay close. Let's go.
Good day to you. It's Joel with The King Country, dropping in to let you know that our brand new film, Unsung Hero, is in theaters April 26th.
But look around you, David. Your family, your faith, they're not in the way. They are the way.
It's Luke here. We've teamed up with the creators of Jesus Revolution to bring you this adventure of a lifetime.
There's no food and we're almost out of money. We need to make some changes. Kids, we need your help.
It's a powerful true story that circles around miracles and about a family uniting and growing in their faith, facing the impossible together.
It's going to be dangerous and scary. It's going to be so hard that you want to go back.
The movie also features our brand new song, Unsung Hero.
You're an unsung hero. So I'll sing this song for you.
Giving up, it's not an option.
In theaters beginning April 26th, join us in making opening night a family day at the theaters.
He'll help you make sense of today's stories.
Never been much for public speaking or school, really.
As soon as someone explains them to him, it's News-ish with Wally.
So by now you are obviously familiar with the ship that hit the bridge in Baltimore Harbor that collapsed the bridge and sadly led to the loss of 6 lives. It was a tragedy, obviously, but it is one of those things that following it, people start to step up and try to help out. And the Baltimore Ravens and the Baltimore Orioles announced that they're going to donate $5 million each towards those impacted by the bridge collapse. So that's nice. Two local sports teams getting involved to kind of give back to the community.
I love seeing that. I mean, they make a lot of money. Why not give it back?
They say that the fund was established to support families, port workers, small businesses, first responders, and communities impacted by last month's disaster. It is crazy, too, because you don't think about it, but, like, that's a shipping way where, you know, things from the port are getting delivered, and there's stuff that can't get through there right now. People that went to work, hundreds of thousands that would cross the bridge, like every day. Like, how do you get to work? There's got to be another bridge somewhere.
I mean, but you would hope.
Yeah, so I would be real curious to see how this money gets divvied out and what it actually goes to, and you really do hope that it goes to the people that need it the most. The Orioles and Ravens said that we're thankful for our first responders and their bravery and their tireless work. We're confident that Baltimore and Maryland will keep displaying tremendous spirit during this time. President Joe Biden on Friday repeated his intention for the federal government to cover the entire cost of the rebuilding of the bridge, calling on Congress to authorize that effort. This is where it could get a little murky. I've heard people talking about, like, when you have a spending bill like this, other things can get added into it. And so it becomes more than just about the bridge, and then all of a sudden, if you veto that or you vote against it, you then are voting against. Then it gets political. You're voting against the people. But I don't know if this one is a specific amount of money that would only be earmarked for the bridge or not. And you might wonder, well, why are they even having to do that? Doesn't the ship have insurance, and doesn't the bridge have insurance, which should take it? And I did a little digging on this. The ship, the company, it's a Singapore company, they're already asking courts for limiting their liability in this. And they're basing it on an 1851 law, a maritime law.
Oh, my.
Like, so they're trying to mitigate their damages and their culpability and limit it to the value of just the vessel and the cargo that was lost, nothing about the bridge. And so maybe this is a case where if the government doesn't step in, you're going to spend years arguing the litigation and the insurance payouts, and everybody loses at that point.
Sounds like a nightmare.
Definitely a tricky thing for people that are affected by this. But I do love that, you know, the two teams stepped up and went, hey, we at least want to do something in this to help out the people of Baltimore. Women, men need your encouragement. They need your recognition. And they probably won't tell you this, but we do. Hey, it's the Wally Show on Uplifting Way FM. I recently experienced this. So my wife and I were at a movie, and this older lady came in with her even older mother, and they both crossed in front of us at a glacial pace. I mean, it was crazy slow. And I get it. You know,
it's dark in the room.
Yeah,
it's hard to see.
They're older and stuff. Yeah. So the movie hadn't started yet. So they get to the other side of the theater, and the lady is trying to get up the stairs, and I can see she's struggling. So I put my popcorn down, put my soda down, and I walk over, and I say, hey, do you need any help? And I said, where are you trying to go? And the lady goes, well, we're trying to go in the row that you're in. And I said, well, let me help you. And so the older lady, she had to be 103, 104. And so she is in there. And so I hold one of her arms, and she has her other hand on each armrest. I mean, we're going one armrest at a time.
Bless.
Like,
why didn't they just stay down on the ground?
I don't know. Or like or just go 2 seats in.
Yeah.
But she's like, oh, we want to go to the middle. I'm like, of course you do. And so like I help them get all the way into the middle. Help her get situated, and I go back and sit down next to my wife, who my wife looks at me, says nothing! Not a peep!
But you don't do it to get praise for it, do you?
Yes, I do! No, I don't, but it's kind of like, that was going above and beyond. I thought my wife would look at me and go, oh my gosh, I married a great man. That is so nice of you. I was going to do it regardless, but I really felt like some positive reinforcement would have been good in that moment.
I think what it is that we don't understand why men need to be praised for being a decent human being, whereas we as women constantly are asked to be decent human beings, to treat people with respect, to be kind, and we're not praised for it. So why should we treat you with kid gloves and go, oh, honey, you did a good job?
Because
yay,
we don't get enough of that, honestly, as guys. Like, we need a little bit. You want us to be better, give us a little positive reinforcement. We'll be better. It's like my wife, if she had gone over there, first of all, I would have gone over there with her to help. But then I would have told her, man, that was really nice of you. Like, nice job. I appreciate that. I made a good choice when I married you. You know? So here's the deal. Because women will tell you when things are wrong. I think that's my issue. They will tell you everything that's wrong about what you've just done and why you should not have done it that way.
Mm-hmm.
They will critique you ad nauseum on certain things. But it doesn't go both ways. They don't always share what you did right, kind of thing. So here's what I want you to do. If you're a lady, only ladies here, I want you to share something that your man does right, okay? And you're going to tell us, but it doesn't stop there. You're going to start with us. But then I want you to tell him today when you see him, when he gets home from work, or when you guys get back together. I want you to say, hey, and by the way, I told everyone on the radio that I married a great man, and I respect you, and I appreciate what you do.
And it's going to go straight to his head, and he's going to be like, yeah, I'm the king of the hill.
For 5 minutes, but then she'll break him back down. So 855-33-WAY-FM. That's 855-33-WAY-FM. It's a chance for you to actually brag on your man, but then tell him as well that you did so. So 855-33-WAY-FM. What does your guy get right? So what does your husband get right?
Well, honestly, after 40 years of marriage, he gets quite a bit right.
Well, you trained him.
We kind of grew up together. We were very young when we got married, but I tell him all the time what a great job he does. But I will tell you that on the other side, I don't know how many men actually tell their wives that they appreciate what they do every day if they stay at home or if they work and then they come home and do stuff.
You are right. Men do need to tell women that they appreciate what they do as well. I think if both people in a marriage are doing that, you're going to dramatically increase the odds of having a happy marriage. I appreciate your advice and your wisdom, especially having 40 years in the game, Shelley. That's awesome. Thank you.
You are very welcome.
So, Nicole, this is a chance for you to brag on your guy. What does he do well?
He works really, really hard, and it allows me to be able to stay home and homeschool our kids and get them to all their events. And he works really long hours, like 12, 15-hour days sometimes. So we just really appreciate that.
I can tell you this, as a guy, appreciation goes a really long way, like for your work, and it's the simplest thing, whether it's from you, whether it's from the kids, when they say, hey, Dad, we appreciate, or hey, honey, I appreciate how hard you work for the family. You have no idea how far that goes with guys, and it's an easy thing to do, and it will pay off for you guys too, because it will make him feel like, okay, this is worthwhile what I'm doing,
Yeah.
Well, Nicole, I appreciate you being on the show today. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you for giving us an opportunity to brag on our guy.
There you go. Well, I hope you have a great rest of your day.
You too. Bye-bye.
All right, Karen, you're up. What is it that your husband gets right?
He, without asking, with nothing, like even if my feet aren't at his hands, he rubs my feet all the time when we're sitting and watching TV.
Do you thank your husband for doing all that?
I do. I think I do. I hope I do.
Uh-oh.
I will now.
Yeah. Tasha, what does your husband get right?
So my husband is actually the stepfather to our two boys, and he stepped in and took a place that the other didn't necessarily want. And he's been in their lives now for the last 5 to 6 years, and he has been so good at raising them spiritually and guiding them and just being a great father for them.
That's awesome, because that's not an easy role, and I love that he stepped into it and is owning it and doing well at it. That's great. And so, yeah, you letting him know that, I'm sure would mean the world to him.
Yeah, because he has just been amazing. He's a great husband, a great father, a great worker. I mean, he's just all around just a great guy.
Well, that's awesome, Tasha. I love that you got a chance to brag on him. Now, go home and tell him.
I will, most definitely.
All right, Melody, you're up. What is it that your husband gets right?
He is super hands-on and affectionate with our 1-year-old, and he says that he is very determined to continue to say I love you as many times as he needs to, even when he grows older.
I have always been shocked by the amount of people I've met that have said, like, I've never heard my dad say I love you. Like, what? How is that possible?
Yeah.
I can't go a day when my daughter's around me without telling her I love her. I will text her sometimes out of the blue, just, hey, kid, I love you, thinking about you. Like, I think that's a great pattern for him to start already this young in your child's life. But it's so sad that people don't have that. And we as guys, that's where we should emote. I know we hold our emotions in check a lot of times, but boy, we cannot be emotional enough with our sons, our daughters, and our wives.
Totally agree.
Well, it sounds like you got a good one there, Melody.
I definitely do, and I will tell him when I get home today.
Growing up in poverty has never been easy for children, but with the added challenges of the pandemic, conflict, and natural disasters, families around the world are facing an unprecedented food crisis. Unfortunately, those who are already hungry are now even more desperate. But by sponsoring a child through compassion, you can help provide life-sustaining essentials such as food and clean water. And with your compassionate support, that child can not only survive, but also flourish. You can find out how and choose a child to sponsor when you click on the compassion banner at wayfm.com.
Uplifting Way FM. This is The Rock Report with Betty Rock.
As an A-list funny actor, Jason Bateman has won his way into the hearts of many, but he might have lost a few after promoting a dairy company. Yes, promoting a dairy company.
How did he get in trouble for that?
Well, PETA got wind that Bateman was promoting such a business and called Bateman out on it. So my question is, what does PETA have against dairy? Well, here's what
Please
I found
enlighten
out.
me.
According to PETA, cows used for mass consumption dairy products are typically milked 2 or more times a day,
right,
rather than letting the cow nurse their calves. So they can't nurse their babies. They're instead having to give their milk to us to consume. And this treatment of cattle causes respiratory issues and udder infections.
Infections.
Just to name a few.
I thought you were
serious here.
I thought you were making a joke in udder infection, an actual udder. So
yeah,
that was my fault.
Udder infections. And so while I'm not on a PETA kick
level, yeah,
I do. Now I'm rethinking, like, do I want to eat yogurt?
Milk? Are you going to drink milk? Are you going to stop drinking milk?
What about ice cream?
I know, you're going to stop.
But I want the baby calves to have what they need to grow.
But see, this is the thing where they miss out on that, because the baby calves are also a commodity for the farmers. So they're not going to let the baby cows starve so we can have a glass of milk. I think this is where it gets blown out of proportion, as to like PETA in their intent and in their heart, I think are good people. Like, they want to see,
God gave us the animals and we are in charge. And I think that it's a responsibility that we need to be very diligent about.
I think that they have good hearts, but their methodology and the extreme lengths they go to is problematic, and it makes people that might have sided with them initially jump off the ship with some of the things that they pull. So then they got all over Bateman. Did he cave?
Well, so far he hasn't released a statement yet, so nothing has been said. I don't know if he will drop that promotion.
I would be the worst celebrity if someone tried to come at me like that or cancel me, because I would take billboards out of me drinking milk. I would revitalize the got milk thing, and I'd have milk mustaches everywhere. Like, I would double down.
I know,
because I'm wired that way.
And that's the reason why God put you in a mediocre situation, so that you wouldn't be.
Thank you.
In an A-list situation.
You know what? Thank you, Lord. You're protecting me and my heart and everybody else. So that's great. I appreciate you letting me work to the middle.
We've never claimed he was the brightest bulb.
At no point were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought.
It's The Wally Show with Smarter Than a Jock.
This is where you will take me on. You've got to get past my brain in order to win a prize today. Betty Rock is the proctor. She will be asking the questions, because this is brought to you by Colorado Christian University, where Betty Rock has 2 degrees from. Now, these aren't typically things that she studied in school. These are more like general knowledge, things that you should know, but as an adult, you maybe kind of forget. And I will have to tell you this. Normally, I brag about how awesome I am, how smart I am, how you can't beat me. I'm feeling slow today. I'm actually feeling a little bit on the dumb side. Yeah, it's not going to be good for me.
Maybe this will help you. I'll give you a couple of ideas of what these questions are based on.
Okay, some categories.
Yeah, we're going to do spelling because I just enjoy it.
So bad at spelling.
I'm going to give you a math word problem.
For the love. These have been coming up in my TikTok, like ways to answer questions on the SAT for some reason. I don't know why. And they're all math. I don't know how anybody passes anything on the SAT. Kids, if you're getting anything over 10 points,
well done.
You're amazing.
Well done. And also quotes, famous quotes.
Okay, now that I'm not too bad at usually.
Well,
so
there you go.
Pretty happy about that. All right. All right, so or maybe I'm just luring people in with a false sense of security and I'm really going to be on fire today. Probably not, actually. So, all right, here we go. If you want to play, if you want to take me on, you got a better than fair chance at winning a prize right now. 855-33-WAY-FM. That's 855-33-WAY-FM.
We've never claimed he was the brightest bulb.
At no point were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought.
It's The Wally Show with Smarter Than a Jock.
Uplifting Way FM. This is The Wally Show. Martina, welcome to Smarter Than a Jock, brought to you by Colorado Christian University, where Betty Rock is a former student that has 2 degrees, and you are going to take me on and to see if you can get past my steel trap of a brain. If you get more questions right than me, you will win a prize.
Okay.
All right, Martina, since ladies go first, I'm going to let you choose the question. You can either choose spelling, weird laws, a math word problem, or a famous quote.
I'll say spelling.
I'm going to give you the word, and if you think you can spell it, yell your name. The word is minuscule.
Wally.
Okay. Uh-oh.
I
Wally
have
said
a
his name
minuscule
first.
chance at getting this right.
Okay, how do you spell it?
MINI, SCULE, but I think there's an A in there too. Minuscule, no, minuscule, I don't know. I'm sure I got it wrong.
That is incorrect.
Yeah, I knew that going into it. Okay.
All right, would you like to try, Martina?
Yeah.
Go for it.
So, MINISCULE.
That is also incorrect. I'm so sorry. We
how
were
is it?
looking for MINUS.
What?
Minus cool.
Oh.
MINUSCULE.
All right, no points there.
All right, Wally, do you want to go with weird?
Quotes.
Oh,
I want quotes. I know what I want.
Okay, you can yell before I give you options if you think you already know it, or you can wait for the options. So here's the question. Who was quoted in saying, "To err is human, to forgive
is divine"?
A. Alfred Lord Tennyson. B. William Shakespeare. C. Alexander Pope. Or D. Robert Frost.
Wally, none of the people I thought it might be were on that list, so I'm going to go Shakespeare.
Shakespeare, okay. That is incorrect. All right, do you want to try for it?
I'm going to say Robert Frost.
That is also incorrect.
Wow, we are stinking this thing up, Martina. All right, it's going to come down to this last question.
Well, okay, Martina, I will give you the choice. Do you want to do weird laws or the math word problem?
Weird laws.
In which state is it illegal to sell any product made with dog or cat hair? Is it A, Arizona, B, Delaware, C, Ohio, or D, California?
I'm saying Martina.
Okay, Martina, what do you think?
I'm going to say Delaware.
Delaware, that's an interesting guess.
What made you guess Delaware?
Because California is strange. I don't know. In Ohio, my son-in-law is from Ohio,
and he's never mentioned anything about the cat-dog thing.
Well, I have the news of telling you, Martina, that guess was correct.
Wow.
It's Delaware.
A blind guess, just all total luck. But you know what? Doesn't matter. You have beaten me. You are smarter than a jock today. Brought to you by Colorado Christian University. Congratulations, Martina.
Thank you.
Uplifting Way FM, this is The Wally Show, and The Scoop is where we try to help improve your life in various different ways. And I have the scoop today on healthier eating even though it won't feel like it, which is a great scoop.
That's a win-win.
Yeah. Okay. Now, do you like bread, Lady Rock?
Yeah, who doesn't?
Bread is one of my favorite go-to foods, but it's not healthy for you, you know?
Yep. I think white bread is really not, but wheat is kind of questionable. I think.
But white bread is the best, honestly. And so here is the scoop on how to make white bread a little healthier for you.
Okay.
You toast it.
That's it?
Yeah, that's it. There was a doctor going viral because he's explaining that when you toast white bread, it does something that's called retrograded starch. It actually helps lower the glycemic index, which is the sugar that spikes your blood, and it also helps you stay feeling fuller longer. And so if you were to say you were going to have a sandwich, you might as well toast it, because toasted sandwiches are great anyway.
Well, especially like when you go to Subway or Jimmy John's or someplace like that, they always ask, do you want it toasted?
Yes.
And
Toast that, good
yes.
sir. Toast it twice.
Put it through twice.
Exactly. And see, the toasting of it actually helps a little bit on that. You can actually freeze your bread, and it has the same effect as well. I know, like, if you don't use a lot of bread, you can freeze it and thaw it out and use it later. That will actually help. And this is what's crazy, too. It applies to pasta as well. What?
So if you freeze your pasta and you eat it later,
even if you just refrigerate your pasta and then reheat it, say, the next day, it has that same effect of lowering the glycemic index. Then it will be lower than when you cooked it and had it fresh.
so if you're planning on making a pasta dish for your family,
That's right.
you should boil the noodles
Yep.
ahead of time.
Yep.
Refrigerate it.
Yep.
And
then have it
serve
the next day. It'll be a smidge healthier.
And you can say, I'm dieting.
That's right. And like, let's be honest too. Like, lasagna, day 2 lasagna is better than day 1 lasagna anyway.
Yep, I amen that one.
Yeah. So make it a day ahead of time, and actually maybe lower the glycemic index a bit, and feel better about yourself while you're but don't have like 4 helpings.
What?
Okay, have 4 helpings. You'll be fine.
You're being healthy.
And now for some good news.
Uplifting Way FM. This here is the Wally Show with the good news. Giddy up. It's a roundup, a cavalcade of good news stories, because the regular news is a bit of a bummer. I'm auditioning for when they get rid of the voice at the Thunder Mountain Railroad at Disney. Howdy, partners! Like, that's I'm gonna do that. I think so.
Okay.
All right, Lady Rock, what you got? Good news, Giddy up.
We
Go.
all know that teachers and counselors deserve more money, and this just goes to prove that point even further. A former teacher and counselor in Virginia, her name is Lillian. She passed away last month at 95, but before she passed away, she made sure to leave her school district $1 million.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, she worked there for 67 years and didn't retire until she was 89.
Holy cow, what a great work ethic. Although you're like, boy, if she had $1 million, we were paying her pretty good.
No, because she had to work 67 years to even get that close. But it just goes to show that she cared about people so much that she left $1 million to kids to make sure that they could get an education. And I think that's just an awesome legacy to leave behind.
That is awesome. Speaking of leaving something behind, there was a guy in Virginia who tipped his Lyft driver, but instead of doing it in the app, I guess maybe they forgot or didn't do it. They gave him cash, like, hey, here's $5, thanks for the ride, kind of thing. I've always wondered if you could do that, if they would accept it. Well, apparently they do.
Yes, you do.
And the guy gave him $5, and then the guy stopped at a gas station and bought gas and a $5 lottery ticket and won $150,000, like the Uber driver or the Lyft driver.
And I wonder if he could backtrack and see who the guy was that gave him the $5.
I bet he could.
He could give him like a little share of it.
That'd be nice if he did. I'm curious if that happens.
He doesn't have to, but
that would be a great news story. This is good news, Giddy Up. Great news, Giddy Up would be that follow-up for sure.
Yeah, you're right. Well, that's the end, but it doesn't have to be. Check out our Aftercast. It's new stuff you didn't hear in the podcast. Be sure to rate us on iTunes as well as connect with us on social media. Just search Wally Show. And if you'd like to join our Facebook group made exclusively for you potties, the link is in the description of this podcast. Thanks to Colorado Christian University Online for supporting what we do.